Well, I want to introduce to you someone who has become a friend of mine and a huge supporter of this luncheon. He is one of the most successful people I know. He has billboards all over the city. Would you please welcome up my dear friend, Rogers Healy, our first panelist interview. Rogers, come join me. We're setting up here for an awesome panel. Rogers, I'm going to hand you this. Just before we launch into your panel.
Did someone say Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
I'll take it, yeah. My mustache is, that means you're paying attention. Sir, what's your name? Oh my God. Wow. We'll get back to that.
So Rogers, I'm about to hand you this awesome panel of speakers, but just before, can you tell us a little bit about where you're from, what you do? Give us the 30-second version of who you are.
I'm from Dallas. I grew up in South Texas. My story is unlike any of y'all. I was a perpetual failure my entire life. Sucked at kind of everything, got cut from every basketball, football, and baseball team, and decided to pivot in my early 20s. And I dedicated my life to trying to be the best at what I do. Like Tara said, I own a real estate company. I started it when I was 25, and I'm 42 now. But my days are filled with people like y'all, people that are part of our company. And the thing that I do that's most exciting is I have a company that works with professional athletes and celebrities, and we were able to bring a few today. And that was a way for me to go and combine my love for celebrity and sports with business. So, random business guy that found success after failing and just appreciated the journey and found a way to leverage that into a career to impact people like y'all, because I found the best way to learn something is to teach.
Awesome. Well, Rogers is going to introduce up his panel. We're going to have a great time. We'll wrap up this panel, and then there'll be another one, and then it's the awesome lunch. So would you please, Rogers, introduce your panel guest?
Do you guys want like a walk-up song? Can somebody drop a beat for me, please? I'm actually going to do a walk-up rap. Let's go. I'm joking. All right, first up, out of Springfield, Missouri, standing 6'2", but 7'3" with heels, Anthony Tolliver. Let's go, Anthony Tolliver. How about that? All right, we got a DJ here. Next up is my buddy Blake Wiley. He's the second best dressed guy in the whole place next to Dustin. Blake is from a small town in Texas, but he made his way to Dallas a few years ago. Blake Wiley, everybody. Yeah, thank you, DJ. Next up, my buddy hails from South Texas, but he's lived everywhere from Detroit to the Northeast. Now he lives in Dallas. He's got the #1 roofing company in the entire world. He hadn't gotten a haircut in 20 years because he has no hair left. His name is Dustin from The Results Roofing. Dustin, come on the stage. Yeah. Last but not least, the #1 pick in the WNBA draft, my friend Charlie. How about that? How about that? So we got a really diverse group of people up here. They're going to share their story with y'all. And one more thing to share. You guys have such an incredible opportunity today and moving forward. And Tara has been such a special person in our life and my family. And being a part of this for the last few years has been one of the highlights. And this is literally my favorite day of the entire year. And I already want to start by telling y'all thank you for being engaged, because if y'all have ever done anything on stage and when you see people on their phones or dazing off, it makes you uncomfortable. So thank you all in advance for being a part of this. So I think the first thing would be great to do is have them each introduce themselves, get a little bit more depth, and then we'll get into the questions. So why don't we start with Anthony?
How you guys doing? My name is Anthony Tolliver. I played in the NBA for 14 years. Just actually about 2 days ago, officially retired. So we'll be moving on. But also, while playing in the NBA, I was an entrepreneur and still am, and have been investing in real estate, investing in companies for the entire time. So I was preparing for life after basketball the day I started in the game of basketball. So excited to talk to you guys, excited to hear some of you guys' stories a little bit later, and glad I could be here.
Hi, I'm Blake Wiley. I did not play in the NBA. I went to school, or grew up in a small town out in West Texas. Went to school at UT Austin, and made my way to Dallas. Started off in a career in an industry that I wasn't passionate about, and it was just an opportunity that was presented, and so I did it. And while doing that career, I found out what I was really passionate about, and I started my own company. So an entrepreneur. We invest in consumer goods, so food and beverage products, probably a lot of the products that you might have in your backpack today or enjoy on the weekend. And but we back entrepreneurs, and I look out in this crowd and I see leaders and entrepreneurs that will go on to do great things later in life. And so I'm just happy that Roger's invited me to be on the panel today.
How's it going? Dustin Gutkowski. I did not play in the NBA either, and I was not a #1 pick, although I tried. So I actually originally from small town outside of Austin. Grew up in a tough environment. I was actually homeless when I was 14. And then now, entrepreneur. I own 5 companies, soon to be 6. We have Results Roofing, Results Paintless Dent Repair. We actually have a production company where we work with a lot of UFC athletes. If you've heard of Kevin Holland, Ryan Benoit, Montana De La Rosa. We do a lot of their production and their hype videos. So what an entrepreneur let me do was I did something that I had fun at, but it led me to my passion, whether fighting, basketball. And so now I'm able to experience those things through being an entrepreneur. So I appreciate you guys having me, and I look forward to speaking to you.
How are you guys doing this morning? My name is Charlie Collier. I'm a current WNBA player for the Dallas Wings, going into my 2nd season. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself because this day is about you guys, but I'm from Baytown, Texas, graduated high school in 2018, went to the University of Texas, graduated there in 2021, and was #1 pick in the draft. So my journey is pretty crazy. I'll tell you a little bit about that a little bit later, but I was in your shoes when I was younger, so just excited to be here and get to know you guys a little bit more, and hopefully you get to know a little bit about me. So thank you, Rogers, for inviting me.
Cool. All right, that's our panel, and I know that we don't have a ton of time, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the questions. Raise your hand if you've heard the term mindset. You guys ever heard that term? Right, I didn't know what it was until I was a lot older than y'all, but I think mindset is really important in life, especially in business, and I think that we have people over here that have captured what it's like to be in a thing called a growth mindset, which means you're always doing better, and as far as the journey is concerned, we have a very eclectic group of successful people. My first question is for Charlie. Obviously a successful athlete, and to be the #1 pick in the WNBA draft, that is literally what dreams are made of, right? How did you go and stay focused knowing that you went from University of Texas to #1 to Dallas, where you have a lot of weight on your shoulders to go and essentially carry a franchise for the next 10 or 15 years?
I would definitely say it's a lot of pressure going in. You're 20, 21 years old, and you get called to be on the biggest stage of your life, but for me, I've always been on the biggest stage of my life, but this particular moment was definitely challenging for me. I went through a lot of roller coasters up and down in my career. My dad actually passed away when I was in high school. I was 16. So that was my first face of adversity, and that definitely, I guess, changed the way that I think about basketball and the game, because you got to think at any moment, your life can be taken away. So you got to take advantage of every moment of your life, ups and downs, and just continue to pursue on. And I feel like I was invited to play for the USA team in high school 2 weeks after my dad passed away, and so I was going to actually say no and not do it, but I ended up doing it because I felt like if I didn't, I wouldn't be where I am today. But this is just for you guys. If you face adversity in your life, don't give up, continue to do it, and follow your dreams, because you might end up in where I'm at today, or you might end up even better. So I feel like, no matter what you do or no matter what you go through, pursue your dreams and continue on.
I think that's great advice, and something too, I like to keep things very, very simple, and I tell myself every single day, keep it moving, right? When you have stuff that's going to go and just slap you in the face and catch you off guard, you got 2 choices. One is to let it win and beat you, the other is to beat it, and I think that with that, you have to just kind of keep that mindset. Same question for Anthony. With a different background, Anthony has played for 11 NBA teams, okay? So almost all of them, and he's been able to go and remain significant, but one of my favorite parts about Anthony is one of his business partners. Y'all know who Steph Curry is? Okay, yeah. You know who Rogers Healy is, the realtor? Exactly, it's me. So Anthony, one of Anthony's business partners is Steph Curry, and he was able to make friends with Steph Curry while they played together, but Anthony has found a way to go and remain involved with these teams throughout the course of his tenure. So maybe same question for you, Anthony, is how do you keep your mindset healthy knowing that he literally announced his retirement 2 days ago?
Yeah, so actually, this is the first time I've actually told the public. So you guys have some exclusive news, so you can go text Wojciechowski, right?
Maybe that was a secret. Everyone,
no, it's all
tweeting.
good. No, it's all good. Mindset is everything. If you go into life daily basis, like Roger said, with the wrong mindset, you're going to end up going down a path that's going to lead you to nothing. But if you go in with the right mindset, I feel like the path can be clear. The path it's not going to be, it's going to have roller coasters. There's going to be ups and downs for sure. But if you have the right mindset, you'll be able to get through those tough times. So, kind of looking at us two, right? Everybody on this stage, I would deem successful, right? In different ways. All of us got here with different paths, right? Number 1 pick in the draft. I was what pick? Nothing. I didn't get picked at all, right? But we're still both deemed successful. Why? Our mindsets, right? The way that we approached it. Hey, I got told no. I got told you're not good enough. You're not good enough. You got cut. I got cut. Guess what? I woke up the next day. My mindset was, I am good enough. Guess what? I'm going to make it happen. So at the end of the day, hey, if you're the number 1 pick, that's awesome, right? She did a whole lot of work to get there, and she deserves it, right? Hey, I did a lot of work too. I didn't get picked at all, but we still ended up both achieving our goals, right? Which was to make it to the highest level and succeed, right? So for me, mindset's everything. If you guys can develop at an early age, which all of you guys are still young, if you can develop this mindset at an early age that no matter what comes across my path, I'm going to continue on, you guys can get to your dreams, for sure.
I like that. Great answer. I have a same kind of question for Blake and for Dustin, but Blake and Dustin never made money playing professional sports, and they had to, embrace that at an early phase in their life, much like me. And so for me, I had to realize as a business owner and as a leader, sometimes I'm not going to be in the spotlight. So for y'all, being leaders in the community and having people that you shepherd, what's your advice to the future leaders of our world from a mindset perspective, knowing that you might not be center stage, you might not be the first pick, you might not play for 11 NBA teams? How do you go and stay motivated knowing that you're going to be probably singing background with a different kind of important role?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that. There's a study done that one out of 10 humans influences and affects the other 9, right? And so the fact that you all are here today and you chose to be here, this wasn't something you had to do, tells me that y'all are that one, right? And so whether you see it or not, there's 9 other people that aren't here today that are looking at you and saying, I want to be like him. I want to be like that guy. I wish I had what he has. And you may not feel that where you sit today, but that's the truth, right? And so, whatever arena that life puts you in, you have that impact, and people are watching you. And so, it's up to all you guys to be those leaders and to set those examples for the next generation. And I just want to hit on journey, a little bit. We have a mantra at our company that the journey is the destination. And what we mean by that is, we look and say, oh man, if I could just graduate high school, that would be the best thing in my life. And then you get there and you accomplish that and you say, okay, now what? Oh, if I could just get the job that I really want, that's all. That would be the end. That's the destination. That's where I need to get. If I get that first job and get that first paycheck, that's all I need. And then you get there, and then what, right? And so it is a journey. And my journey's different than everyone, and his journey's different than everyone. And everybody has their own journey they're on, and great things happen in life. And you feel like you may be up here, and then tragedy hits, right? And you're back down here going, golly, I just can't imagine it getting worse than this. But then there's a bright light around the corner, right? And something good comes our way, and we turn around. And so that's just life. It's those ups and downs. It's those twists and turns, and seeing around the corner of what's coming up next, and just staying on that journey, and realizing that we're always in pursuit. We never arrive, right? We never arrive at the destination. We're always in pursuit of the next goal.
I love that. And to play off what Blake was saying, if I was in y'all's shoes, I'd want to learn a couple takeaways. I think a good takeaway from that is you're a product of the people you surround yourself with, right? And I think the saying is you're a product of the 5 people you surround yourself with the most. And the next thing I would tell you is I learned this from my dad, who's going to be here today. When you have something not fun happen, it's going to happen, right? Statistically, it takes 7 great things to replace that one bad memory. So I think you have to learn how to be an athlete mentally with the journey of life, that when you have these obstacles, you have to go and put yourselves in positions where it's going to get your heart and your head right, right? So statistically, it takes 7 great things to replace 1 bad thing. Dustin, same question for you.
Yeah, I think for me was at a young age, I realized that people treated me differently because of where I was from. I didn't know my dad, still don't know his name. I came from a drug-filled, abusive home. I remember coming home and we didn't have lights, we didn't have electricity, we didn't have water, we didn't have food, we went to bed hungry. My dad was super abusive to everybody in the household. And I realized that I didn't have some of the breaks that other people had. But what I realized at a very young age was I didn't want that life. And I didn't know how I was going to get there, and I didn't know how long it was going to take me, but I realized I didn't want that life at a very young age. But I also realized that my pops wasn't coming to save me. My mom wasn't going to save me. It was going to be up to me. And, didn't play professional sports, but I wanted to be a star in my own movie. And I got the chance to write that movie, right? And so it was super hard, but I realized that, hey, I want to create like my environment to be a product of me, not for me to be a product of my environment. And it was hard, man. I don't think people tell you that enough. When you grow up like that, there was a moment in my life where I slept on a park bench. I was 14 years old. I had nowhere to go besides school the next day. That was the only time I got to eat. And I remember sitting there. It was cold. I was alone. I was hungry, and I was crying. And I'm 14 years old. I'm a kid. I have nowhere to go. And I remember falling asleep, and I remember when I went to sleep, I was like, I wonder if I'm going to wake up in the morning. That was my thought process. Because how do you survive this? This is the worst point of my life. I'm homeless. I woke up the next day. And something changed me that day. I was grateful that I was able to wake up again because I didn't know if I was. And I knew from that point was like, hey, this life sucks. This is terrible. It can't get any worse than this. Why not just go try to do things? And I failed my way to success over and over and over again. It took me 5 years to graduate high school. People laughed at me. I didn't go to college. People laughed at me. I got fired from multiple jobs. People laughed at me. But it was my goals and dreams, and I think the one thing that helped me through the entire process was I knew exactly what I wanted later in life. And I never gave up on that. So when something happened, when adversity struck, it couldn't waver me off my path because I knew where I wanted to go. Right? I knew specifically where I wanted to be, so when something happened, I was like, that's okay. We'll get through this. Let's weather this storm. Now what? I still got to be on this path and this journey to where I want to be. And so your mindset is everything. Don't let people put their shortcomings on you. Don't let them put their insecurities on you. Don't let them tell you what your life can be. It's your life, you live it. It's your book, you write it.
How about that? I'm going to pivot back to pro sports for a minute. Raise your hand if you guys and gals are an athlete, right? Okay, even if you're not, you can still compete, right? Charlie and Anthony, maybe share a little bit of advice. And let's start with Charlie, and let's have this directed at the women that are in attendance today. Maybe talk from your perspective, like give just some advice on what you would give them about being a confident woman at this phase in your life, but obviously as you continue your journey later on.
Confidence is everything. I would say for me, I'm a black woman, so it's already hard enough. So you have to walk around with a certain amount of confidence in order to achieve your goal. Be comfortable in your skin. Be comfortable in what you do. You may not want to be an athlete later on. You may change and pivot your way into something else in another industry, but it's all about confidence. It's all about your resilience and your willingness to learn. You're never too old or too mature to learn from other people. Whether they're younger than you or older than you, always take advice and always know that it's room to grow. For example, for me, I'm coming in as a rookie. It's already tough. The girls are already 10 plus years in the league, and I'm getting in the game, and it's hard, And I'm used to everything not being easy for me, but me being the focal point of the team. And so when you get in the industry of WNBA, NBA, you have to work as a team. And so with working as a team comes with being confident, being a leader, or if your role on the team is just being a role player, doing your part in what you do greatly. And so that's what my parents instilled in me, my faith instilled in me, of just being confident in my skin and knowing that whatever I do, I'm going to do it to my best ability in order to make everything work correctly how I want it to fit in my life.
Man, I couldn't have picked smarter people. Anthony, same question for you. Confidence meets reality meets humility.
Yeah. So I couldn't agree anymore with the whole confidence situation. But raise your hand if you think you know the answer to where confidence comes from. Give me your guess. What's that? Bravery? Courage. I like it. Anybody else got it? Yell it out to me. Mindset. Yeah, confidence can come from mindset, but I'm looking for a couple. Oh, I'm really looking for one answer. Self-esteem. Okay, those are all good. Those are all good answers for sure. Somebody's really excited. Who? Right here. Knowing who you are. Okay. All right, cool. I like all those answers, but you know where playing in the NBA 13, 14 years, getting cut 8 or 9 times in my life, being told I wasn't good enough. You know where my confidence came from? 2 places. First of all, from my faith, right? From my personal relationship with Jesus, right? That's where my confidence comes from, personally. But the second part of that is working hard, right? Like if you don't work hard, how can you be confident when the pressure's on, right? Like I don't know anybody that can be confident that doesn't work. I don't. Maybe you have a false confidence because that's what it is. It's false. But if you put in the work, the daily work, the hourly work, you're going to have confidence. And that confidence is going to build the more you work. So my advice to that is work your tail off. Because whenever it gets tough, guess what? You know, hey, I put in the work. I should have all the confidence in the world to perform. And another thing that Charlie talked about was, being able to humble yourself and play a role, right? Like, people think it's crazy when I say this, but would you ever believe that I was never the best basketball player on a team I've played for? Would you ever believe that? Probably wouldn't, right? Like, you played in the NBA for 14 years, but you've never been the best player on your team in your life? That doesn't make any sense, right? But it does make sense. You know why? Because I've embraced being a role player. I've embraced humbling myself, knowing I could do more. But I said, I'm going to take a back seat, and I'm going to perform this second fiddle, third fiddle, fourth fiddle, coming off the bench. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to help a team win. And that got noticed by everybody at every level, and it got me to the highest level, to be a role player for 14 years. So I don't know about you guys, but, if you guys really want to, learn, and be great, you got to learn how to be a role player sometimes. Hey, if your role becomes being the best, that's great. But if it never does, it doesn't mean you can't achieve your goals, because I did. I'm living proof. So there you go.
I got a question for all y'all, and again, it's so impressive y'all are here, and to have this opportunity at your age is really rare. If I was in your shoes, one of the questions I would want to know is, like, what is it really like to be an adult, right? As like old man as that is, and I think that there's a lot of fear of the unknown. So I have a question that's going to make this a more vulnerable discussion, but what's been the hardest part about being not necessarily youthful anymore? What's been the hardest part about getting out of high school and navigating losses and wins and making money, losing money? What's been the hardest part of being an adult? But then I want you to answer with, what have you done to go and overcome those objectives that can be a takeaway for the crew today?
I think for me is I teach everybody on my team this, and I try to instill it, is be a problem solver, not a problem giver. Because so many things in life, you're going to have adversity. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter, you could be in the NBA, you could be a roofer, and you're going to have problems, and you're going to have a lot of them. But one of the things that happens is they're not going to solve themselves, right? And so you're going to have adversity. So when something happens to you, I do something to me, and I learned this from watching a Kobe Bryant video. Actually, my son's named after Kobe, and it was how he would perform on the big stage, right? And he would tell you that he would get nervous on the big stage or in big moments at first. He'd let feelings come, and he'd always say that the storm's going to pass eventually. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, it might not be in a month, but that storm's going to pass, and then the sun's going to shine, right? And so that's how I just go through. When a problem comes at me, I just, okay, I have this problem, now what can I do about it? And I'm going to look for solutions to solve it, right? And so if you want to get through life as an adult, this has been the hardest thing, because I used to be the victim. It was everybody else's fault but mine, right? It was my mom's fault, my dad's fault, where I grew up, why I was poor, why did I get this, why didn't I get that, why did he have this, that guy's lucky. I can tell you every excuse in the world. Well, I stopped doing that, and what I started doing was I started owning my stuff. Everything was my fault, I put my ego aside. Hey, your ego is not your amigo. I put it aside, and what I realized is when a problem happened, I was like, how can I solve this? How can I get through this? And I just started to fall forward fast, right? Even if I failed at something, I was further ahead than the guy that did nothing. He's going backwards. So I would always make sure when I had those problems, try to solve it, right? And reach out to people for help. The craziest thing out there is people that want you to succeed. But we tend in life to look for the people booing, right? You'll have 10 people in your corner cheering you on, but you look for the one hater that's talking trash online or says something behind your back. Don't focus on those people. Focus on the people that want you to win, because you'd be surprised there's a lot of people out there that want you to win. And when you start reaching out to those people, they will help you. And they'll help you sometimes solve these problems. So that was one of the biggest things for me that's helped me. And it's a battle. I'm 38, and I still battle with it every day, right? It doesn't necessarily get easier, but you just learn to work through it and just keep going, and keep going.
Yeah, similar to Dustin, I would say just responsibility, right? Like when I was younger, I could always point the finger to something else, or that, this person caused that to happen to me, or, oh, that's their fault, that's not my fault. And then as you become an adult and you start to lead your own family, then you realize that you are responsible and taking that ownership, And I think for me, early on, probably I felt sorry for myself too much because I was comparing myself to other people. Right? I would, similar to, why do they have this? Why does that person get that? Why wasn't I able to do this or that? And then when I started competing with myself is when I really started to thrive. It was, instead of comparing myself to others, I was competing with myself to be the best person that I could be in all facets, in my faith, in my, diet and things that you eat, to exercise, to your work life, right? And trying just to be the best version of myself, which was in turn the best version of myself for my family, and just making sure that whatever I was doing, I was the best in my house at what I was doing, and then I was the best maybe in my city at what I was doing, and then eventually the best in the state at what I'm doing, and then maybe eventually the best in the country and in the world at what I do. But having that competition with myself was really what kind of led to that. But to answer your question directly, responsibility was kind of the toughest part of becoming an adult.
If you're never grateful for what you have, you'll never be grateful for what you get. This is 100%.
I would just say there's beauty in the struggle. There's beauty in the struggle no matter where you are in your life. I'm 22 years old, and I feel like I just been through everything. How old are you, 40? Yeah. Like, it's always going to be hardships. It's always going to be adversity, but it's how do you keep pushing on, because you're always going to face them. In the Bible, it says remain steadfast. God's always going to put you through trials and tribulations so that you can go on to the next level in your life. If you continue to stay on that level, you'll never prevail. So it's like, how can you get past that next step? And I feel like in order to get past that next step, you have to learn how to learn from your situations that you're in right now. Whether it's, you're going through something in school, you're going through something at home, how can you challenge yourself and focus yourself mentally on your goals and what you want to do in your life? Because it's not always going to be, rainbows and roses all the time. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly, and you have to figure out a way to continue to move past that. And ways that I've moved past it, I surround myself by great people. I surround myself by people who pray for me, who are encouraging towards me, who are positive people. And I feel like the people that you surround yourself with, eventually you're gonna help them eventually too. So I would just say, remain steadfast, surround yourself by people who are wanting to see you do great things in life, and continue to pray and have great energy and effort towards what you do every day in your life.
Yeah, now I'll kind of finish up by saying there's really only two scenarios in life, right? Like two different buckets, I say. There's things that you can control, and there's things that you can't control. Like, that's pretty much, if you have two general categories. I would say growing up, I really focused a ton on a lot of things I couldn't control. And I think that as a youngster, as you guys are growing up, the faster you can change, going back to mindset, but the faster you can change your mind to stop focusing on all the things you can't control and start focusing on the things you can control, the faster you're going to go down the path of success, the faster you're going to get to the goals of your life. Because if you're worrying about and struggling with the thought process of, oh man, that person did this or this person did that, or, like these guys alluded to, was like, blaming other people for certain things that happen to you or in your life. Well, those are all things you can't control. But how you react to those things, you can control. How hard you work, you can control. And so to me, the hardest thing, or the hardest thing about becoming an adult is learning to humble yourself and say, listen, like, I can't blame other people for where I'm at. I have to control the things I can control. There's certain things you can't control, so just let them go. If you have faith, allow that faith to take over, right, on the things you can't control. But the things you can control, if you don't take care of those things, you have no room to complain about your situation. So that's kind of where I'm at, and as I've grown up, that's where my mindset has shifted to just controlling the things I can control and not worrying about the rest.
Great. I'm going to give you all a different answer. I'm going to answer my own question. Raise your hand if you've ever failed at anything. And let's be honest, and if you don't raise your hand, then I'm going to come find you, and I'm going to beat you at a thumb war, okay? For me, the hardest part of becoming an adult was learning how to be successful. And I think that some advice that I would give you all is the quicker you embrace what you're never going to be great at, the more lethal you're going to be. But I had a background of literally failing at everything. Anyone in here have interest in real estate? That's what I do. I took the real estate exam more than anybody in the history of the state of Texas. Literally. I took it 22 times, where most people would have quit. But I was used to failing. And so for me, the hardest part of being an adult when it comes to the stuff they're talking about is kind of the opposite. I had to learn to be successful. And I had to learn that I was good enough to go and win something. And I had to go and stay humble and stay focused. And there's a few times that the Lord would humble me because I was deviating, kind of from the path of what you're supposed to do. So I would learn that as well. And I think it goes back into mindset as well, to where it can all be gone tomorrow or today. And the quicker y'all go and perfect that in your head, the easier it's going to be. So I know we got probably time for one more question, Tara, or wrap it up, or one more. Okay, we're gonna bring it home with this. All right, I'm gonna say the average age in here is probably 18, 19 years old. Rewind the clock, maybe 14, 13. You guys are 7 years old. I bring the average age up because I'm twice y'all's age. So you're in their position today. You're sitting in this room filled with great, loving people that want to just see them win. What do you wish you would have known, and what's the advice? What's the takeaway?
I look out, y'all look up here and you see, professional athletes and entrepreneurs, but I look out at you all, and you all have something that much more abundant than what any of us have, and that's time, right? Y'all have a lot more time than we have, especially Rogers. I mean, he's the oldest one on stage. So, it's your choice each day on how you spend that time, and cell phones are great, and video games are a lot of fun, and there's time for that. But there's also time to pursue your dreams, and time to work on yourself and make yourself the best version of yourself that you can be. And so, my takeaway would just be that you all have so much more time than we do. And so be almost militant and be very intentional about how you spend that time every single day, because it's fleeting. And none of us at the end of the day know how much time we have, right? And so pursue those dreams and pursue them fast and with passion.
I would say, for me, looking back to when I was, he said 18, 19 years, 13, 14.
Y'all just are mature. You could be a lot younger.
Very mature, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. Just thinking about, at that age, I thought, kind of like what Charlie was saying, is, man, I feel like I've been through a lot, and I know a lot, and everything else. I feel like the earlier you really start getting some mature mentors in your life, the faster you can get mentors in your life that are maybe doing what you think you want to do, whether that be an entrepreneur, whether that be, a hooper or whatever you think that you want to do. I would say the faster you can get in the room with those people and really dig in to see what they do on a regular basis, and you say to yourself, is this what I really want? Like, people see, the basketball players on TV, right? They see the glory. They don't see all the work that goes into it. They don't see how much daily dedication, hey, you guys go eat a cheeseburger whenever you want. You guys do whatever you want. But sometimes as an athlete, you can't really do that. Our body is our job, right? So we have to make a lot of sacrifices that people don't see. They just see people on TV. They see making big shots in the playoffs or whatever it may be. They don't see the sacrifice. So I would say the earlier that you can get with mentors, with people that that are in areas of business or sports or whatever you want to pursue, the earlier you can get around those people, I would say the better, and get around them as much as possible. And last but not least, surround yourself with people you want to be like. So not just your friends. If you're like, hey, I'm trying to do something big, something nice, I would definitely not suggest being around people who aren't those things. How about that? So just definitely, pursuing those friendships would be really important.
For me, I think a few things is one is being authentic to no matter what, just being authentic and true to who you are. I think at a young age, I worried about what everyone thought of me, right? I was really scared and vulnerable of my past, so I didn't tell it to a lot of people and share it, and so I actually lied about it. And I realized I didn't have a lot of friends because I wasn't authentic. And then what I realized was as I got older, and I wish I'd have known this, is that, people, they can see through that, right? But no one really cares. And so what I mean by that is I was so focused on what other people thought of me, and I thought everyone was judging me. I thought everyone cared every single thing I did. And so it would hold me back from trying things, because before I would even try something, I would talk myself out of it because I'm like, I'm going to fail. Joe's going to judge me. My buddy's going to make fun of me. All these people are just going to clown me if I go try this, and I'm going to look stupid. And it held me back on so many things. And I wish I'd have known that at a young age, that no one really cares because they're going through the same thing, right? And the only people that judge you, they're just judging you based off their own insecurities. And so don't allow that to hold you back. Don't allow failing to hold you back because you want to look cool, right? And just be authentic to who you were and who you are. And the last thing is when you see someone successful, I promise you they didn't get there by accident. As you said in testimony, you see them on TV, you don't see the countless hours they put in. One of my mentors, I remember I told him I want to be successful. This guy was worth $100 million. He lived in Detroit. He built all the homes for Eminem, Kid Rock. I mean, this guy was an animal at what he did. And I said, I want to be like you. And he's like, no, you don't. I said, no, I really do. He goes, for the next 90 days, you can go with me every day. 7 days a week, we'd wake up at 4 a.m. to go work out. This guy wouldn't go to bed till 12:30. He didn't own a TV, but he was worth $100 million. And how did he get there? He worked 24/7. And that was his goals. And I never saw that side of it. I thought the guy was just successful. Oh, man, he's lucky. He's got it. So when you see someone successful, I think getting a mentor in that field, whether it be real estate, you want to be a ball player, find someone who's great at their craft and get mentored by them and study what they do, not just on the court, but off the court, to see what it takes to get there. And if you can just be just a percentage as good as they are, you can achieve your dreams.
I'm just going to start off by saying that I miss school. Y'all are going to look at me like I'm crazy, but I miss learning, and I miss being able to be where you are right now. And I know it is boring, and I'm the same way. I was on my phone. I wasn't listening. I was falling asleep. But the people that are talking to you and lecturing you and giving you advice really know what they're talking about. And I wish I took advantage of that more when I was younger, in high school and college, because at the end of the day, those people are successful. And like Anthony said earlier, may not be in the same way, in the same area, but they know a little something. They at least know more than you do. So knowledge is power. It's cool to be in school. Now that I'm a professional athlete, I kind of miss it. Me and my teammates talk about this all the time. I have some teammates that are going back to school to get their master's just because they like the fact of learning. They like the fact of learning about new things, different things. I got bored one day and I'm like, I'm interested in real estate. So I hit up Rogers and I'm like, you know, can I come to the office? Can I interview? And me just researching, I'm watching $1 Million Listing, I'm watching reality shows, just learning about real estate because I want to learn more. You know, you guys right now are beautiful young ladies, handsome young men, and y'all are sponges right now. Y'all are learning right now, and that's such a beautiful thing. And so don't take that road too fast. You know, take advantage of learning right now while you're young because when you get an athlete, you know, it's not easy to get this kind of setting. We don't sit down and get lectured. You know, you're an adult, so you're on your own, but this is a beautiful thing, so take advantage of it.
Money.
What did you guys think? Was this not an awesome panel? Who in here learned something and feels inspired? Look at that. And all of you too from each other, right? Well, we are just so honored that each of you would come today and give your time, invest in students. Here's the awesome thing. They are all staying to have lunch with you. So if you're like, hey, I really would love to come maybe ask you a question or just pop by and say hi. After we finish eating, there will be an opportunity to maybe just pop by and say hi. So for now, we want to thank you so much. We're going to send you over to the table host to get ready for lunch. Would you give it up for these guys one more time? Let them know how much you loved them. So if I have any table hosts in here, all the table hosts, including my panel up here, you are all going to head over to the annex for your table host meeting. Rogers, I'll be over there in a minute, and we'll do table host. So if I could get my table host over there, if you're a table host. Well, just as we clear off chairs and get ready, I have another guest to introduce you to. I know it's you've been sitting for a bit, but I promise this next the next panel is a little shorter, and then it's lunchtime, so you got this. I have a friend that I would like to introduce you to. Shy, my friend, are you here? Shy Speaks. I'm looking at. Oh, can you grab her, Pastor Becky? Shy Speaks will be here, and she is one of probably the most creative person I know, because this is how my relationship with Shy Speaks is. Hey, Shy, I'm doing an event. My theme is journey. Can you write an entire spoken word all about my theme? And she goes, sure, I can do that. I can put all those words together and I can be creative like that. Not only is she a creative, but you're gonna learn about how she runs her own business. And then we have another special guest that I cannot wait for you to meet as well. So Coach Eric, who in here has Coach Eric as a mentor? Is he any good? Should I fire him? Is he good? Yeah, we like him. Okay, Coach Eric is gonna host this next panel, but if I could get my dear friend Shy up here. Come on, Shy.
What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Got me? All right, so I actually had a mix-up. I thought I was supposed to go over there, and I was supposed to be over here. That's what happens when you just like not paying attention. No, I was paying attention. I'm just being silly. But I just got mixed up. But I'm actually excited, really, really excited to be here with you guys. I actually have some spoken word that I want to do with you all. She introduced me as a hip hop and spoken word artist, and I actually want to share some of that. I want to share that with you, and it's more formal, but before I be formal, I feel like I need to earn your, oh, I'm sorry, you were right. Before I be formal, I want to earn your respect as a lyricist. If anybody in here like lyrics, let me hear you say, I like lyrics. You got it, okay. You good? I woke up with that dog in me, feeling like I'm Westbrook. Braun when he booming and Pacquiao with his left hook. E.T. when he's speaking and patting his chest with passion, black girl magic, now all I need is Aladdin. Disney, okay. We're gonna have some fun. Disney lands on the floor when I go and speak to the Lord. I say I'm grateful for everything. I'm just hungry for more. Watching all of my gifts shift me and lift me to places, into rooms full of people who all got powerful faces. Know my positions beside them. That's what I see, no Poseidon. A little Greek mythology for my nerds to be riding. Yeah, my flow Aquaman. You can't, okay, come on, y'all, let's go. Yeah, my flow Aquaman. You can't stop it, man. I've been cooking with no pots and pans. I use plots and plans, so you're looking at strategy. Don't be mad at me and what I shake up. This wasn't overnight, but your sleepover. Wake up. Yeah. Don't be mad at what I shake up. This wasn't overnight, but your sleepover. Wake up. Now, can I get somebody in here to say, wake it up? All right, we good to go. Now, when I think about the words journey and I think about the phrase journey of wonder. I couldn't help but to stop and ponder and think like, how many of us were like, oh, hey, vowels do matter. And I'm not talking about vowels like letters and sentences. I'm talking about sentences of convictions, vowels, because wonder and wonder are two different words. One is to aimlessly walk and the other one is to walk in amazement. My question for all of you is, which one will you choose? 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025. If you are in here, that's your class I just listed. Let me hear you make some noise. Teens and tunes both start with the letter T. They apparently have a lot in common. I say that because I set out on a search for a list of things that are the common struggles for teens, and it read almost like an autopsy. I'm gonna read it to you. It didn't read like, here are a list of things that your teen can overcome. It read more like, here are a list of all the reasons why your teen is done. All that was missing was the dun, dun, dun. But in my head, I heard the voice of 500 teens screaming, why? Why, bro, why? Why am I surrounded by people who think that I am destined for destruction and doomed? Which took me back to the word tomb. But anyway, this article. The article, it read, even for the most self-assured person, they struggle with acceptance. But for today's teens, they extremely struggle. It said that they struggle with lack of maturity. It says that you guys are stressed, depression, anxiety, self-harm. And these are all things, they said it like it was things that teens were doing to intentionally embalm themselves for their burial. I'm like, whoa. It said that you guys were desensitized and over-sexualized. It spoke about violence and bullying as if it was pulling teens along like pallbearers, and a rock-solid casket called trust issues towards a stony cemetery on the Lack of Motivation Boulevard. It said that in those old days, teens couldn't wait to get a job. It said in the old days, like teens couldn't wait to get a job, start a career, build a family of their own. But then for today's teen, all of that is like exceptionally hard. Now, the water of that article read half empty, but it was crystal clear and made a hard case that today's generation, this generation, is stuck between a rock and a hard place, surrounded by bricks and stones like tombs. But it's not what I see. You see, in my eyes, those same bricks and stones can be used as things to help you rise. And so in order to see what I see and to think how I think, I had to get that out of my head. I ditched reading that article. And I set out on a search for a new list of things that rise. And this is what this article read. It said air, wind, water, waves, heat, sun. And then it dawned on me That nothing that naturally rises is man-made and you were created by God, which means that you have the natural ability to rise. So rise like the air, rise like the wind, rise like the water, rise like the waves, rise like the heat, rise like the sun. No, I am begging you to believe that you as a team can rise from a tomb like the sun. Just saying. I know some of you all are thinking, like, how can I rise when I keep hitting a wall? I am surrounded by destruction and doomed. And if you had seen what I seen by the time, if you had seen what I'd seen by the time I was a teen, you would understand why I already feel like I'm stuck in a tomb. I feel you. I know it gets hard. That's why I want to bring you my words, not with all the extra razzle-dazzle, just a little bit of compassion and affection. I want to echo a reminder that today, the next time you face a wall, you remember that that's when the resurrection is most possible. I'm pausing for the cause, for you to realize and you to have reflection. I want you to rise like the wind, rise like the waves, rise like the heat, rise like the sun. I want you to rise. I want you to rise. I want you to look me in my eyes. I am begging you to believe that you can rise so that teens and tombs have no formal connection. Thank you. Yeah, I got a little bit more where that came from. Y'all want to hear some more? Let me hear you say, yeah. I actually want to take the time to talk about that because I know at an event like today, you have all sorts of people, all sorts of adults telling you you can be and achieve whatever you want to achieve. But I know that there is a lot of you who have experienced the opposite. Like, people told you you weren't going to be nothing. People told you you weren't going to make it. People told you, you had all types of negative things. Even if it wasn't people, it feels like the circumstances were telling you you weren't going to make it. And that stuff is stacking on top of you like bricks. And I'm just saying, use those bricks to rise. Step up on that stuff and go, right? Now, when we talk about the difficulties you've been to, we don't want to spend too much time on it. So this next piece, I actually want to help you tap into your individual efficacy. Now, anybody in here likes poetry? Y'all like poetry? Poetry, okay. All right, poetry. Now, if you like poetry, and if you ever been to a poetry slam, you'll see people snap it up like this if you hear something good. Y'all been to rap battles, because I was dropping bars. Y'all was like, oh, it wasn't no snapping or nothing going on. But I'm saying you can snap it up. Now, if one poet walks on the stage, that's usually a solo piece. If two poets walk up on the stage, that's a duet piece. If three or more walk on the stage, that is a group piece. And so what we're about to do is a group piece. I've been looking around as I've been doing these words, and I've been trying to figure out who I want to do this group piece with me. And I know some of y'all getting nervous already, like, I am not going up there. I got you. So what we're going to do is we're going to all do the group piece together. This particular poem is called Whatever It Takes. So what happens is when I say whatever, you'll say it takes. Whatever. Whatever. Now, when I say whatever, you say it takes. Whatever. Whatever. Don't try to act like you're saying it, because I can see through your mask. I can see if you're saying it. I got X-ray vision. I'm just playing. It's a joke. You can laugh. But I want to make sure everybody in here is saying whatever it takes, all right? So when I say whatever, you say it takes. Whatever. It takes. Whatever. It takes. Along life's journey, we cross paths with all sorts of people. Now, we've been taught that people are equal, but equal does not mean same. You see, some people take responsibility. Some people place blame. Some people will always, some people will never. Some people say, I care, and other people say, man, whatever. So you got to be paying attention, because I'm a rapper and I talk real fast, and the next thing you know, I throw in a whatever. You got to be paying attention, because I am also a poet, and I like to pause and go slow and say words like euphemism and fecundity, just to then throw in a whatever. Come on, y'all sound good. I said along life's journey, We cross paths with all sorts of people. Now, we've been taught that people are equal, but equal does not mean same. You see, some people take responsibility. Some people place blame. Some people will always. Some people will never. Some people say, I care, and other people say, man, whatever. Well, first, along my journey, I stumbled across a man who was stumped by the stupors of life. I said I stumbled across a man who was stumped by the stupors of life. He'd been stifled, stuck up with no rifle. His bank account was on a freeze because this was a poverty stick up. It's almost like he was holding his poverty stick up, picketing and parading around saying things like, I already know, I'm poor. He said every day that I wake up, I'd have to scrape up if I wasn't willing to do whatever to get this money. He said, I got tired of being broke, looking bummy, making excuses like, nah, I ain't gonna be able to go. You know, my money looking a little funny. He said, so I hustle. I'll sell anything for a profit. Weed, stolen cars, pills. When he said that, I caught chills. I said, sir, why won't you just get a job? He said, oh, trust me. Trust me, I've tried. But what am I supposed to do? Peruse around the corporate office, sucking up to Uncle Tom in hopes to cruise up the corporate ladder. Meanwhile, allow my confidence to be bruised because I'm black and they still won't move me. So, ma'am, whatever. So I kept traveling along my journey. And I said, that was bad, but whatever. And then I staggered across a sir who was seasoned for success. I said I staggered across a sir who was seasoned for success. He'd been seared by life's heat, obviously refreshed like a plate full of vegetables and meat well dressed. I guess that you could say that he was well groomed. But according to statistics and the odds, he was well doomed to be a poor, uneducated criminal just like his father. But see, this guy wanted so much more. I staggered across him at a store. He was asking the manager if they were hiring. She said, sir, what are you looking for? He said, ma'am, I'm willing to do whatever to get this job. He said, I'm trying to pay for these 2 college courses because when I was a little boy, I always wanted to teach people how to fly. He said, yeah, I see that look in your eye, and I know that this seems like a dream, but I really believe it can happen. He said, I have a lot of skills, but I don't have a lot of experience, so I never get hired. And she said, sir, why won't you just give up? He said, oh, trust me. Trust me, I've tried, but there's something deep inside of me that's willing to do whatever. He said, it's willing to do whatever. He said, I have vision. I see myself raising godly children, building a loving husband, and providing for my wife. I know government assistance is cool, but I don't want that to be the story of my life. And quite frankly, I'm on a mission, and it's possible. No movie. Now, that was the type of conversation that moved me, and it inspired me to stand before you today to help you see yourself in a different way. So put your hand over your chest and say, I said, put your hand over your chest and say, I want you to think about yourself and say, I'm willing to do whatever. No more excuses. I'm willing to do whatever. No more procrastination. I'm willing to do whatever. I'm willing to do whatever. I'm willing to do whatever. In my pursuit of happiness, no movie. Thank y'all. My name is Shy Speaks. I enjoyed you.
Let's give it up for Shy Speaks. She killed it. Awesome, awesome job. Thank you so much. Let me give you a hug. Thank you, thank you. What an awesome spoken word. So inspiring. I have just been so inspired. I know I'm one of your mentors, but even I feel inspired right now just listening to the awesome panel and everybody who's been up here. So we're going to move on into the next thing. So if I can have Eric come on up, and he's going to introduce our next panelist. Thank you. You guys, let's give it up. Shy, you can
Shy,
stay.
you stay
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Here you go.
You're part of it. How many of y'all like that? You think she did good? Let her know, let her know. Come on, let her know she did good. All right, so the next panel, and anybody taking notes, you guys are getting a lot of good information. I would encourage you guys to take notes. You may not get this wisdom again. So yes, Shy Speaks is on this panel. And then we have another special person, Mr. Greg Nard. He is a big deal. I'm not going to steal his thunder. I'll let him introduce himself as well. So we're going to get into our next one. Get your notes because you're going to want to find out a lot of information. All right, so let's start off. It's for both of you. I'll let you guys introduce yourself. So a little bit about yourself, where you're from, a little bit about your journey on how you got here.
All right, so as you guys know, my name is Shy Speaks. I am a hip hop and spoken word artist. I am from Dallas, Texas. I'm from a little part of Dallas that you guys may have heard of. It's called Oak Cliff. That's my hood.
My hood.
I actually, kind of like one of the panelists that you heard from earlier, I was born into adversity. I was actually born to parents who are on drugs. I also don't know my father, but I decided like from an early age that I wanted to like overcome all the odds that were stacked against me. I went on to go to college. I graduated top 10% of my class, went to college, joined the military, and then eventually started a business based around my own creative gifts. And I became a creative entrepreneur and all the things that I just said, and that's why I'm here before you today.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Everybody okay? Hey, we'll try to be fast here. I know you've been sitting for a while. We'll try to answer a few questions and let you get to lunch. My name is Greg Nard. I work as the Senior Vice President for the Dallas Mavericks. It's my 8th season. Any Mavs fans in the house?
Whoop, whoop.
All right. First game's on Saturday in the playoffs. We got Utah Jazz. I've been with the Mavericks for about 8 years. I grew up in a small town in Ohio. I grew up with a single parent mother. I had a father who was there every now and again, abusive father. Had 3 siblings, 2 brothers and a sister. Played sports. Sports was one of my outlets to get out of that small town and that abusive relationship at home. And end up playing basketball at the University of Maryland. Go Terps. Graduate from the University of Maryland. Start working for the Washington Wizards. Spent 15 years at Nike. Worked as a sports agent. And now I'm here at the Dallas Mavericks. So that's a little of my journey.
So just to brag on him a little bit, I did read his bio, and it's pretty impressive. Names that came up on his bio: Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Penny Hardaway, Charles Barkley, Michelle Wie, right? Some big names. He has worked with them. So this is kind of a big deal. Just throwing that out there, right?
Dirk Nowitzki, Luka Doncic.
Yeah, because he's currently with the Mavs, right? So we'll transition to that. So in terms of where you got to now, 1, did you want to become an NBA player? And then 2, how did you end up working for the NBA?
That's a great question. When I graduated from the University of Maryland, I first started in a job in sales as a copier salesperson, and I thought that job was not a job for me. So I met a buddy who says, "Hey, there's the Washington Wizards. There's some job opportunity in sports." I'm like, "What?" And worked for the Washington Wizards, and I worked for the Wizards for a year. And that kind of led me to being in the sports industry now for over 30 years. And it's been an amazing journey. You got an opportunity to, work for just great organizations, like the Wizards, like the Nike, like the William Morris Agency, and down here working for the Dallas Mavericks. Gotten, again, chance to work and kind of manage. I managed, for the most part, a lot of my career. I managed athletes and I managed entertainers. In managing those particular people, you learn what makes them tick and what's important to them. And I've just been super, super fortunate and blessed to be able to work with some amazing people and some amazing organizations.
All right, Shy. Same question for you, but a little different. Did you always want to be a spoken word artist, musician? And what was your journey to get to where you're at?
I don't know if I always wanted to be that. I was actually raised in a musical family. And so early on, all of our cousins and aunties, we all know that we have, what our gifts are. Some people play, some people sing, and so I knew early on I had that gift of music and song, but it wasn't until later on that I kind of discovered my voice through journaling. I started realizing I was able to kind of find my own lyrics. But at some point, I became known, and I think this is an important part for some of you guys to hear. I became known as, Shy that does this. I was known by my talent, Shy that sings, or Shy that raps, Shy that dances, or Shy that plays basketball. And it's kind of like to a point where I didn't really know who I was aside from my talents. I started thinking that's who I was, and so I set my talents to the side. I said, I don't want to use any talents or any gifts. I want to go to college, and I want to focus on being I want to grow professionally. I want to grow spiritually. I want to grow academically. I just want to grow and I want to learn. And if it's meant for me to pursue these things, by the time I do pick it back up, I'll know who I am and I'll be filled with something that's worth pouring out. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Now, you work with a lot of athletes and a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff. What are some things that you could touch on so that they could see more of the behind-the-scenes things that go into the daily operations, right? Everybody sees the athletes on the TV, and that's all they know. Can you shed some light onto what the behind-the-scenes operations is?
Yeah, I would say some of the behind the scenes is, I think the panel before kind of talked about it. Anthony Tolliver and Charlie kind of talked about it. There's some areas that you have to have some success at that highest level. And I even translate it not only to the highest level, but just in life. And that success is real simple. And as part, I call it my own personal core values. And I learned it. I had my own personal core values, and then I learned even more working with some of these great athletes. So I'm going to ask all of you to take out your phones sometime today and write down your own personal core values. And here's what I've learned working with some of these great athletes. First, and I'm going to tell you part of my core values, it's work ethic, right? It's work ethic, right? Coach told me one time, the harder you work, the luckier you get. So if you don't bring it, guess what? It's hard to be successful. The second thing that they all bring, and something that's part of my core values, is trust and honesty. Trust and honesty. Because if you don't trust and you're not honest, guess what? Coaches, your teachers, your people that you work with, if you don't bring that every day, guess what? It's hard to have success. The third area that's important to me is the health and wellness. And it's a part of, again, should be part of your core values, your health and wellness, taking care of your body. Good buddy of mine, Alonzo Mourning, who's executive with the Miami Heat and an NBA Hall of Famer, he says, your body is your business. So if you don't take care of it, you can't have success. Just think about it. What we all do now, we get caught up in social media. You're up all night. You're in video games. You're up all night. You're on phone. You're texting. You're up all night. The great ones in every area, not just sports, not just in the entertainment, but in the business world, and the great students, guess what? They shut it down. That's part of discipline. There's a spiritual piece. Not all of them have the spiritual piece, but that's important to me. Think about some of your core values. Have a spiritual piece. I don't know if you have one, but if you have a spiritual part of who you are. But if you do, make sure it's a priority. So those are some of the things that would be important in my run of 30 years working in sports.
That was amazing. That was a good answer. Give it up for that. That was a good answer. All right. So with the sake of time, we're going to kind of pause there. We're going to go to lunch. Can you guys stay and do round 2 after lunch? So we are going to get a little deeper after lunch, but we are going to get ready for lunch. So we will dismiss part 2. We're going to go for 20 minutes. I know we had to cut it short. We only went 10 minutes. We're going to go for 20 minutes. We'll go a lot deeper. If you got questions, come see me at lunch, and I might ask it if it's a good enough question, all right? So we're going to get ready for lunch.
Hello. Hi, I'm coming. Thank you guys